welcome back to the Incredible Human interview again. It's been off for a couple months since the new year. It's been a lot of things going on. I hope all of you are safe, especially nowadays. We've been kind of a little more homebound than usual. And I'm so happy that we catch this time to have someone very special to me today to come along talk about, her work in family and marriage. Because if you're going to be at home most of the time, these are the people that you love and you need to be with them most of the time. And so how do you manage the relationship with them? How do you manage yourself with them? And also, how do you see yourself in all this relationship? I have the specialist today here with me, which is Parisa, a very dear friend of mine. Hi, Parisa.
Hi, Mabel. Great to be doing this. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Oh, yes. Can you tell us a few things that you do, like introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. So these days I call myself a marriage and family coach. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. It really calls me. It's what I feel like it's my purpose in life. And I'm so happy I can finally do it.
Awesome. So you've been studying, in the past few years, a lot of things along the side, right?
Yeah, I have. It's, I would say, this is something that I feel like my life has set me up to do. It's just all the events of my life and everything that conspired all these years, it's now I see how all of it has come together to make this happen now. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I have seen it came a long way for you, because when did we start to know each other? I think we all start in the vibration meetup, 2013. Yeah. Well, that was a long time ago. It's 7 years now.
That's right.
And Parisa came to all 3 seasons of the vibration meetup, learning how to raise vibration and bringing friends and family with her too. I was really happy to see her every time. And you work as a program manager?
Yeah, so I was in IT for about 33 years, and I was a program manager working with quite well-known companies. So if I say them, you'll recognize them. I was in the consulting companies and working with big groups, big budgets, and I love what I did at the time. But about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when one of the last company had major layoffs, it got me rethinking about, do I want to go back to corporate? I mean, I could easily get a job. Yeah. That wasn't an issue. But it was like my heart was not in it. And I think actually, honestly, all those vibrational work that we did, all the spiritual work that I did, it got me to the point where I could see and hear my heart better. And follow it, and was courageous enough to be able to follow it. And that's why I decided to do this. And it just made sense. Once I was a friend of mine who I coach said, you should do this. And I thought, yeah, why not? I can do it.
Yeah, you raise a very important point. It's how did you listen to your heart, and by listening to your heart, you start to find what really make your work purposeful, and you'll find a lot of happiness from it, right? So when did you be able to realize or start to connect with your heart, that you start to be able to listen to it? That's a lot of questions around that. A lot of people often ask me, we also always say listen to the heart, but how did you do that?
So it was a lot of meditation and really being present, being in touch with what is going on internally within you. We as a society are so much in our heads, we're all from here up. It's all, and you hear people say, think. Well, your mind has its limitations where your heart doesn't. Your mind can only go so far, and it looks at practicalities where your heart doesn't. It's actually where you get the most fulfillment from, and you get where your wisdom from. So most of us, when we decide from the mind, it leaves something not really that fulfilling when we follow that. But when we can quiet down and really get in touch with our heart, which is with a lot of meditation, a lot of noticing what is going on within you, getting in touch with your body. And I work with you multiple times with that. Yes. You know, we had a lot of that work that we did is how to listen, you know, so that was very helpful.
And you're very awesome in that. It always surprised me that knowing your background as an IT person, program manager, who always have to use logic, calculation, always have to use the mind, right? This is like basic for you to switch from that mode into be able to quiet down. Even just to quiet down wasn't easy for a lot of people. And to, from that quiet down and move into heartfelt feelings and be able to listen to those feelings. Like what, is there like a point that make you start to transit from there? Is like, what trigger you to start to look inward, like now I use the mind too much, it's time for me to come back to the heart? Is there like anything that made you want to make that transition?
Yeah, it did. Well, actually part of it was that transition from corporate to not be part of corporate and making that decision, because everybody was, oh yeah, you're gonna go back to another company and you're gonna continue on that path, and I, every time I thought about going there, it's like it's like my body was resisting. It was saying no. And, to other people, it would have been an amazing job that anybody would want. To me, I didn't feel fulfilled. I was like, no, that's not it. And then at the same time, when I was coaching someone and working with someone, happiness came from nowhere. It was just a happy feeling, and you didn't even have to pay me to do it. I would do it for free. I mean, I coached people so many years in different courses I did. And when I worked for those people, it brought my aliveness out. It was like I felt alive. I felt happy. I didn't need to have conditions around it to be happy. I was just naturally happy. Yeah.
I can tell just by you saying that, like talking about corporate, your eyesight would kind of like here, and when you talk about coaching people, all of a sudden you were like raised like that. It's like totally the energy come up. Like it's like, this is amazing. So how did your family take your transition though? Because we're talking about, it's not just us, right? We're also being part of the family, part of the spousal relationship, part of being the parents or being the kid of our parents. Like how did they take around your transition?
So, of course, the main concern was, are you going to be able to handle the financial part of it? Like here's a risk of financials. And, it's funny how society, we're living in such a consumerism society that no amount of money is ever enough. It's like, my biggest question was, can I really retire? Like, really? Can I? How? Can I just retire from this corporate world and survive and not lose my shirt? Or no, what am I going to do when I get older and I can't work? And, I finally had to trust that universe has got my back and things are good and I really do have enough. I mean, most people in the world live with a fraction of what I already have, and they live happily. There's nothing that they need. And this is like, connecting with my heart again. It's like when I was connecting with my heart, yeah, really, like I have everything I need.
Yes.
There's no reason for me to be scared, really.
It's actually interesting you raised that. I was talking with another friend like 10 days ago. Like she's an accountant and she's not quite happy at her work. And I asked her, are you ready to retire? Do you have, she's like, what do you mean by ready? Is that, do you save enough to sustain you if you quit today? She said what is enough? Right? I think it's like a universal question for everyone because you can always be better. And you can always want to spend more, or you can always come back to live simple. And it's all up to you how you see, how you want in your life, and where do you draw the line for you to allow yourself to change to what brings you more joy, right? I found that a lot of times Beckett's question is more like, am I ready to have more joy? Rather than do I have enough to do that? Like, do I allow myself to do that? Rather than do I have enough money to back me up? Like, because there's always be the time that you find not enough, or you have more than enough. It's just like, we always like, you never hit the bottom, or you never hit the ceiling. So there's really no line that signal, okay, now it's time to change, unless you make that decision for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So over the time, there will be a lot of those times that you're kind of dancing in between. Oh, am I making this decision right? Or do I still need to go back to corporate, make more money and come back? Like all those like dancing back and forth. How did you manage?
So, of course I did the practical things, talking to my financial advisor and making sure he can take care of me, that I've got... that I'm okay, really given what I need for my basics, I'm good. And he assured me I am. So that really helped. But at the same time, it's like what you were saying. Do you want to have more joy or not? So, most people, I was one of them. You were making the big bucks, but really... do you have time to use it? Do you really get to do the stuff you ever want? Yeah. Or you're just now slave to your making money? And that's how I see most people are. We're slaves.
Right.
We're not really free.
And we're serving the numbers. Actually, not even money in our hand. It's just like a number sitting in the account, which is also another set of numbers. It's just like numbers over numbers.
Yeah, and that number goes up.
Yep.
Or that number can go down, but then goes up again. And then you're like, okay, so what does that mean really to me in my day-to-day life? Am I really living or am I just existing?
Right.
And that's where, that was the biggest turning point for me.
Right.
Because I decided I really want to live.
Right.
Right. Like with joy, with self-expression, following my heart. That was the biggest turning point.
And I found that you did something really practically helpful is you're not just doing it on your own. You ask for help, like your financial advisor, whoever can help in. Like I'm sure everyone would have many people connection that can do something to help us to sustain our goal. But sometimes we just hesitate to ask. We even hesitate to tell them, okay, I want to leave my 6-figure job and want to do this. Can you help me with that? Like, are you confident enough to tell people that I don't worry about that figure. I'm more concerned about am I happy or not? Are we ready to be that light to other people? Maybe those people you think that they will laugh at you. They are the one who really need to listen to that okay, someone actually actualize, right? Put it into practice that make happiness over anything else. And they might be actually waiting for you to step into your power to say, I want happiness now, not 10 years later. I want it now. So they can also see, this actually can be true and can be real and can be practical. It's totally workable. So when they work with you, helping you, they're also helping themselves. I see coaching not just we verbally talk, but the way we live our life. It's also like the example of what we're saying is totally possible, is totally workable, right? So people can see.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and deciding to be happy, it really brings everything else. Because to me, raising your vibration to happiness state makes a huge difference. Really, it opens up, the universe will then will respond that way. And that's what I've seen. Like, once I decided, all the right people seem to come along the way to help me through.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is where the trust, trusting
that
trust
your heart
is
important.
Yeah, taking you to the right place. It's guiding you. And this is the big switch that I've made, The decision-making process is to trust myself rather than having to... it's good to ask other people, but when you know.
Yes. Totally agree. Yeah. So what is the one thing that you're doing right now that gives you the most fulfillment?
It's that transition. It's working on my business.
Oh, the transition itself.
The transition itself and actually bringing it out. Now I can offer people coaching. Now
Right.
I can start my program. Now I've done everything.
Right.
From learning, from, school and everything else. I've brought the wealth, a gamut of experience, as well as all the courses I've done, all the work that I've done over the years to help myself
Right.
is coming together
Ah.
to be able to really holistically help someone else.
Right,
Because, I've had so much pain and suffering and everything else I went through in my life and the learnings from it were huge,
Absolutely.
So all of that in combination with the latest training that I've done, which is about advanced family couple counseling, is come together for me to do what I really want to do, which
Right.
is help other people
Right.
to reduce the suffering of separation and divorce and everything else that comes along with it. So this is really the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. in my
Awesome.
life.
So can I actually say that it's the transition brought you to that realization that there's so many different options, possibilities waiting for you to try them, grab them, and achieve them, so you can actually see a lot of beautiful choices in front of you that makes you feel like, oh, life is so exciting, right?
Yeah, exactly. Every day brings new experience and exciting things. I actually wake up. I wake up on my own, ready to take on the day. I like my corporate job, but I tell you, getting out of bed, it wasn't as easy as it is now.
Tell me about it.
It's like, oh God, do I have to do this again towards the end?
Right. I guess a lot of you have that same feeling before. The moment you get up, it's like, do I have to put my feet down on my bed? I don't want to. Yeah, I remember that feeling long time ago. So now you don't have that anymore.
No,
right?
no, I don't. And on top of it, I actually use the mornings for myself. I get up, I exercise, I meditate, I take the time to see what's going on with my body, what I need. Like the quietness of it all. Not the rat race,
Right.
I'm not doing the rat race, thankfully.
The power to pace yourself out the way you like it.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, the freedom is amazing around
Freedom.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
freedom.
good.
That's a powerful word.
Yes.
So before you become so powerful, there must be some challenges that have caught you along the way. So what was your biggest challenge over time?
Well, really, my biggest challenge was going through divorce. The stress factor when they've done the stress factor with people, what happens, life events in your life. First is death of a spouse. The second is divorce. The third and fourth is going to jail and finding out like you got a terminal cancer. Those are less stressful on you than actually going through divorce. So being, it's equivalent to have someone die. I don't know. At times I thought it was honestly easier if my spouse had died, God forbid. But
Okay.
because at least you can leave it with love and you don't have
Right.
resentment and an anger and
Nothing lingers afterwards too much.
No, yeah. I mean, you get over it
Right.
eventually. And
Eventually.
you're like, okay, I love my spouse, but then I can get over it. But divorce seems to linger for a long, long time. And it also does a lot more damage.
Right.
So, children where their parents die, sure, it's hard for them. But it doesn't do so much damage. They know that the parents still loved each other. They still had that example for them. But divorce does a lot of damage to them that lasts for the rest of their life, mostly.
Right.
It's very hard to get over. So, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Because I wish I had chose a different way.
Right. So over the course of your separation and divorce, like everything included, is there anything that helped you the most? Like, is there any like a tool, a way, or certain belief that you hang on to that helped you through the most?
Absolutely. So what I have a motto, And my motto is, I will learn until my dying day. It's the value that says, I don't need to know, I don't know everything. You know, like most people, they think they should know. No. They should just know and not seek answers for themselves. I was, because of my belief, I put myself in courses to learn the stuff I was struggling with. You know, from Dale Carnegie public speaking and how to win friends and influence people, to landmark education, into how to get 100% responsibility for yourself, for your family and your community, how to get involved in communities and help them, as well as like all the energetic spiritual work I did, learning relationship courses, you know, what makes a relationship successful. Here, mine failed. What was I doing wrong, you know? Because really, how do we learn how to be in a relationship? By our parents? By watching our parents? That's the only way we learn. That's the only thing we learn. No one teaches us how to parent and how to be in a relationship. So however our parents were, is we replicate that for our kids. And our kids learn from us, and it just goes on generation on. Right. You know? So I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. So I spent the money and the time and effort, and of course being uncomfortable, learning new things, was able to do that and put myself through things so that I could learn. And that's how it's gotten me here.
And that's one thing I really admire you the most. I be the personal witness of all what she talked about. Is like, this woman never stopped learning. Like from the day I knew her, she's been like learning everything that she could. It's like amazing. It's like every time I see her, it's like, what are you learning this time? Like, what courses are you taking? It's like she'll be telling me all of these new stuff they're so excited about. You see how a successful person, this is the trait of it. It's like you never cease to learn. You never see learning as a chore. You see it as a hobby, as an excitement, as an achievement, and you have fun with it. You have so much fun with it. I can see you every time you talk about what you learn again, and then a new skill, you were like totally excited. You were like dancing around it. It's like, this is amazing. And I see all these changes that you, from the tools that you experience, that you learn for yourself, that you start to be able to help other people. And that's, I think, is the very important quality for a coach, anyone who wants to be able to help anyone out there. My suggestion to you is you need to allow yourself to experience what is challenging to you, and you'll find all those tools that work for you, and from your own experience later on when you share, it's all real, it's all valid, and it's all valuable. Right? This is amazing. And every time I hear you talk, it's like, yeah, I just would be like, oh, I'm so happy to see you again. So now look at your transformation process with your current awareness. Now you've been worked through so many courses, so many different tools and ways, and worked through so many different aspects of you, different direction and different angles. With all of these awareness and knowledge, look back to all this process, your divorce, your challenges. Would there be anything that you would want to have done different?
Yeah. Is really, I wish I had not listened to my ego so much. Not be run by my ego. You know, ego is tricky. It takes you through really wrong avenues and gets you to do things for the wrong reasons. You know, it's looking good on the outside, forgetting about what's happening on the inside. You know? Right. So ego is the one says, I have to be this character out there. You know, ego says you have to be a superwoman.
You have to hold yourself out.
Yeah,
like in
be
a certain
superwoman, do everything, and you know, it doesn't matter that you're really hurting inside. It doesn't matter you're exhausted.
Don't let people know.
Don't let anyone, you know, put this social media mask on. You know, don't even talk to your girlfriends about it. Like, really, don't let them know what's going on, because they will judge you and evaluate you, and it's important. Other people's opinions are important of you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, transformation 101. is to be honest with yourself. And a lot of people don't understand, like, this is actually the hardest step, to admit what you need to change, right? So many times when I work with clients, you've probably seen this yourself too, is to let them realize this is there, and if you want your life to change, this has to change. So hard to have them admit that this is there. It's like, why? You see it in front of your face. Why it is so hard? But it's just hard for us to kind of admit what we don't want to see. That's why it's still linger. That's why it's haunt us for years. Yeah. So what is your role here when you're guiding someone? How do you help them to see that one thing that they need to change the most?
So, well, the program, the Flowing Marriage, the company that I've started with a friend of mine, Carla, it's all about really getting women in touch with their soul self.
Soul self.
Soul self. Because most of the time, the way we are with others and the way we are in our marriage, it is not from there. Okay? The ego runs us. Our past childhood injuries run us and create a lot of havoc in our marriage. So, there is a therapy method called Imago, where there's a set of questions you answer, right. and you learn that you pick your mate subconsciously in a way that they represent your parents. And all those injuries that you had as a childhood subconsciously comes up in a marriage. So marriage provides an amazing container for growth and development.
It's like a mirror of what you're holding inside, as I told you, right in front of your face and inside another person that you paid.
Yeah. So some of the examples, for instance, that I noticed was happening in my own relationships was all those hurts, injuries that I had as a child came up. It had nothing to do with that person. It didn't have anything to do with my partner, but it had to do with me and how I interpreted their behavior and what was happening to them. So, for instance, my mother was sick a lot as a child. And so if my partner came home with something they were struggling with, or they were having some setbacks, or they were ill in some ways, I would not take that well. Because I was like, oh, it's not safe for them to show any kind of weakness.
It's like you see your mom sick again.
Yeah, and that would bring anxiety. Right. And so I would be pressuring them to get over it, get on there, and do it before they're ready. Why can't you just fix it? But it had nothing to do with them. It had to do with me and all that internal anxiety that I was unaware of. So once a person can see their injuries and the impact they have in their marriage, they can then see how they can switch that.
Right, of course.
Yeah, and then once you can connect to your soul self, then all that good stuff comes out. Then you can be caring, you can be compassionate, you can be loving to them, you can be supportive. But while you're coming from that injury part, that's like a little child who's just gonna demand and want things.
What was the hardest thing for you to see in your own marriage experience?
It was that. It was just that my injured parts were running me in that marriage. It was my injured parts that said, I'm in danger, or I'm not supported, or I'm not loved. And I interpreted a lot of what was going on rather than to really find out what was going on with the person. I would jump into conclusions.
To find that focus on ourselves instead of putting it on other people, instead of thinking like, what's wrong with him? You look inside and it's hard, but you start to realize that it's me projecting on him.
Yeah.
Right. So is that the same thing hardest for your clients as well? Like to help them see that actually it was them projecting onto the partner?
Yeah, what I do is take them through a process of understanding themselves better. One of the things I noticed when I was going through the transition is I didn't even know what I wanted. You can always come up with okay, I need more money and I need to travel more and like just basic whatever. But
Right.
really, really deep down, what is it you want and need? Really,
Right.
like going within to be able to come out with that. Because the answers are not always the same as what they're not. They're actually quite different than what your head says. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and once you can actually ask for your needs and give a lot of what you need to yourself, sometimes you don't even need anybody. All you need is yourself to love and support you most of the time. So, instead of me being like a superwoman that I always was, the single mom that did everything, if I was able to get in touch with really what was going on, maybe I just didn't want to do anything for the whole weekend, just relax and take care of myself because I was so exhausted. And, really in a family, a woman is the heart of the family. And if
Right.
that heart is injured and is not working properly, it impacts everybody.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. So in my own life, I see how important it is to take care of myself,
Right.
to love myself, and put myself first over above anyone. Because if I'm depleted, I can't be good to anybody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I was asked once a question, and I want to see, like, from your perspective of being a marriage coach, how would you answer that? It's when I see my needs, right? When I know that all that I need is actually myself, and then I realize that I can give all of these back to myself, then how would that help me to mend the relationship with the spouse? Because actually I might not need him. You see what I mean?
Well, so you may not need him, but, when we're in marriage is not really set up it's not set up well by society, let's say that. We get into a marriage from needing someone, like someone has to complete me, and someone has to bring me the financial this and that. That's not the way to be married. It's always a tit for tat. Marriage should really be about choosing to love someone else the way they are. And having someone in your life where you can give that love to, express the love within out. So you're not doing it as the need that I don't see that I'm enough or good enough, or, someone else is not going to be the proof that you're worthy. You already know you're worthy.
Right.
You already know you're great. You already know you're lovable. That way you're not a beggar of love in your relationship. So once you can really love yourself truly enough, you can not only love yourself, but you can have enough of that you can spread it around. And that's where really the true joy of living and life is. So this sure is not here. It's all you need is love, really. Once you can give that, then everything else makes it easier. Like, life is easy. Marriage is easier.
This is amazing. Like, I totally agree with you. We had it all wrong in our programming of marriage, believing that when we married someone or being with someone, that person should fill up the hole or the void we had. And it's actually, we got it all wrong. That is not the function of the marriage or partnership. It's when you, being the way you are, you attract a compatible companion to you to show each other what can bring you into the next level of evolution. But if you're in a place where you're lacking, you attract someone that always show you lacking, right? But if you are in a place that you are fulfilled, you attract someone that will show you are fulfilled. And when two fulfilled people together, it's gonna boom, like explode with love and be the light of the world. Like, this is like what I took from you. It's like, it's amazing. It's from the beginning, we took it all wrong. We all have this mindset of survival. I was talking with another student yesterday. It's the same thing. It's like, we kind of just think about survival, and we never get through the line of survival thinking 50-60% is enough. And then we keep swimming around up and down and finding unhappiness when we go a little lower, and then kind of doubt and boring and when we were a little along the line or higher, but never fulfilled. Because we have that mindset from family relationship, marriage, how we exist is all about just survival, and we're not getting over or any higher than that. We're never fulfilled.
That's right. Yeah, we're not. Because really, if we cannot love ourselves, how do we expect other people to love us?
Absolutely.
If we cannot give ourselves the love and support that we need, how do we expect other people to give it to us? Who is going to know better than us how to love us? Other than us. No one else is going to know. Right? But here, I still see young people out there. They're looking for this guy, or woman who's going to come and save them from their miserable, life that they've got. Like, save me, give me love, give me things, give me good, No, it's not really out there. It's here. It's within you. You can do it better than anyone. No one else can give you what you can give yourself. Moment to moment.
It's a little fairy tale that we've been told since we were a little kid, with all those little story,
yes.
Right? Princess and prince, that kind of stuff. Okay, you have a really bad stepmother, the prince gonna come save you. And even like the adults, like entertainment, okay, you are very poor, then you have a CEO boyfriend that save your life, pay for you everything, and then like you can brag in front of all the people who bullied you before. It's like all of this concept, we've been brainwashed from day one that marriage is someone come save me.
Yes.
And then that's why there's so many failed marriage, because no one has the responsibility to save you. You are the one who pick your life up and save yourself.
Yes. Yes. And you'll know how. No one can pick up your life and save you the way you want to. Because a lot of guys do stuff actually for women. But, I still see women, it doesn't matter what their husbands do, they still complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, he didn't do it the way I wanted it. I wanted it that way, But, of course, they won't tell the husband about it. It's like a secret. He's supposed to figure it out.
That's another thing, not being honest with ourselves, and of course would not be honest with the spouse.
Yes.
And then the spouse is always like wondering why you're always not happy with me. Everything I say and do is always wrong, and then your relationship will never be right.
No.
Right?
No.
Because it's so wrong to start with, all the concept of being wrong.
Yes. Yes. And expecting too much. Our partner cannot be all and end all. He cannot be our best friend, and listen to us exactly we want. He's gonna have all the answers for all the problems that you gotta work with your girlfriend, with this and that and the other. Like, we expect so much out of this poor relationship. Yeah. It's way too much.
And also, when we switch the role, like, what about the spouse need, right? Can you fulfill that need just like you expect that person to fulfill your needs? If you cannot do that, how can you expect that person to do that to you?
That's
right.
Right.
I think like the relationship should be a balanced two-way street.
That's right.
Right. What you ask the other person to give you, you should be able to provide first.
Yes.
Right. This is how also I see it.
Yeah, and acceptance of yourself, like with your own faults, with your own limitations, and acceptance of them with all their faults and limitations. We're all work in progress. No one's just perfection all the time. Perfection is very fluid, right? How I would say someone's perfect may be different.
And it's very illusional too. Perfection.
Yeah.
What is perfection? Can you really describe with lines and numbers and measurement? What is perfection? No one can. It's just a word that we say, but no one ever really truly understand what perfection is, because it's not really there.
No.
Right? Like, because evolution is endless. Right? What is perfection? Okay, you go to an angel level, but there's God on top.
Yes.
Right? Outside of God, who knows what else? Right? I don't think God trying to ask us to be perfect either. Because that's limitation. When you think you are limited, you are perfect, you actually limit yourself. You're perfect already. There's no room for you to evolve.
Absolutely.
So that's actually a box that limits you.
Well, there's evolution.
There's
So
evolution.
Evolution, when is it
Growing
going to
together.
end? Yeah, exactly.
Growing
So
together.
if perfection is reached, there is no evolution.
Exactly.
There's no growth.
So now, what is your current vision of yourself?
Well, so my current vision of myself is different than it's always been.
You evolved.
It's evolved. I actually see myself as a spiritual being living a human life. I see the end of my life, and I'm good with it. You know, I actually use death as something that inspires me. It puts things in perspective. I noticed myself during those, really getting in touch with what's going on within, that when a conversation was going on, for instance, or something was happening in my life, I was making it right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong. I was labeling, and based on that label, I was behaving. I either liked it or didn't like it, or I thought it should be modified. Life is life, and you can generate happiness, like really by just being in touch that you're alive and that you're still healthy and you still can walk, and life has become so much simpler.
Yeah.
I don't need circumstances to be there for me to be happy. I don't need to make sure that like this arbitrary thing that I said should happen happens for me to be happy.
You don't set it as a criteria.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Do I have goals and I want that goals and whatever happens? Yeah, of course I do. But it's not connected to my happiness anymore. Just being alive, getting up in the morning is good. Because you're happy. There's nothing wrong with me, really. It's just your ego, and that's going to pull you down to that, not being happy. So... yeah, I just, I love myself more than I ever have. I take care of myself more than I ever have. And with all my flaws, everything, as I age, things change, but this is the most I've accepted myself.
It's just a different experience.
Yes.
Let's put it this way. I never, not say never, but I don't see flaws as flaws. I don't really see it wrong way as wrong. It's just a different way.
Yeah.
Right? It's just another different experience that you have another option of experiencing the same way. So it's the same thing. It might be a little longer, it might be a little shorter, you never know.
Yes.
Right? So when we allow ourselves to explore more, instead of labeling it as wrong or not good, but we allow that could be an option, we actually could find more different exciting ways to live.
Yeah, and I can see through the illusion of society for once, and what the society tells you should want, which is, it's so much better when you can trust yourself,
right,
and do what you think is right, rather than just looking for approval everywhere.
Now there will always be people who disapprove of you.
Yeah.
Right? Do you live for them?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Right? Who are you living for? Are you living for yourself? Are you living for their opinion? Right?
Yeah.
And most of the time, they won't even stick around. That's what I found over the 47 years of living in this earth. No matter how much you want people to stick around for you, they say whatever they say, but they have their way to go too. Just like we have our way to go. And we are all individually responsible for our own individual life. So should not hold anyone accountable of our own decision. Like should not blame it to because someone said that.
Yes.
That's the one thing I found is not right.
Well, it really... it doesn't make you happy, that's for sure. It doesn't take you where you want to go.
And one day you realize that person is not around anymore, and you've been living for what he's been placing the opinion on you all your life. Is like, why did I do that? Right? You spend so much time on something that's not even staying with you.
Yes.
Right. So
yeah.
Interesting. So if I have a personal question for you. What are you studying next?
Well, so what I'm studying next is actually how much I can be better in my business. So there's always levels, right? I started this, and I will be learning more and more and more about how to make a marriage more successful, how to be able to make that transformation within people, how to, get people to realize what they're doing wrong and correct that, make that transformation happen. So forever I'll be learning, of course. I kind of like, the latest course in terms of academic way of therapy, working with couples and everything else is giving me so much more insight into what could go wrong. I learned about, like, for instance, mental illness and how it can impact a marriage, or trauma. The impact of trauma in your marriage is
that's
huge.
A big one. Yeah.
It's huge. We have all these childhood traumas that are never addressed.
Oh, yes.
So they're never processed or understood. And those are the monsters that come out in the marriage and do a lot of damage without us even realizing. So a lot of the program that I put together for women is to get that. To learn and heal those wounds, so that they can be whole in their marriage and be there for their children, and a lot of times we even transfer our wounds to our kids. Like, there's been a lot of studies for people vicarious trauma, so all those wounds, injuries that I call, we transfer them. Like, for instance, if we had struggled from poverty, for instance, as a child, what do? We tell our kids, money's scarce, it doesn't grow on trees, and you can't do this, and it's hard, and
you need to work your lives out to get that.
And then what do? We're actually bringing this child up with all these
beliefs.
Yeah, beliefs, limiting beliefs that's going to hold them back.
Right.
Nobody around the family's ever rich, stuff like that, that you can tell your kid. And being able to lift those and heal those actually really helps your kids. So I feel by helping the women, I actually am helping the next generation. And that's why it's so fulfilling for me, because that's what I was saying. It's the heart of the family. If I can have that woman be happy and whole and be able to nurture and love her family, now we can heal the world. Those children will be brought up knowing what a good relationship is like. It's like what I was saying. The parents can become a great role model. And imagine how many generations will be impacted. Those kids will have kids, and then and they will pass on all that great learning and just way of being. Because when a child sees it at home, they just naturally do it.
Yeah, home is the biggest school we ever had.
Yes.
And it's 24/7. And some say, you change a woman, you change a household.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
are you just helping women? Is that your focus?
Yeah,
So,
Flowing Marriage is really strictly for women. I made this decision on purpose because, even though I've done couple counseling and I can do couple counseling and I may, offer it for special people that would need it, but my main focus is helping the women, because really they make the biggest difference in home. A woman can really have a man be elevated, successful, going for it, knowing he can come to a happy home and rest, so he can go out there and be the warrior that he needs to be. The children know they can come home and get the love and nourishing that they need from their mother, and be in a loving, supportive environment, and learn better in school, be more brave in terms of take on things. They be more open to experiment and learn, and be able to handle their failures. We all fail in life, and how we see those failures makes a big difference. Is that going to crush us, or is it going to actually elevate us? Are we going to learn from it because you have this nurturing home to come home to that's going to support you, when you're hurt, and saying, it's okay, hon, try it again. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Makes a big difference.
Right. A woman takes upon so many roles.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the reasons why we're always so busy, and I guess the hardest role to take upon is ourselves. And that is why so many wounds were not addressed and not healed, because we're too busy being other roles, other responsibility, and rather than being ourselves, so those roles become natural. No, so if we struggle from inside being ourselves, we'll struggle from that root into everything, right? In relationship, in work, in anything. So women, please come back to yourself. So from yourself, everything heals.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, so if anyone watching this video right now have struggles in the marriage,
Yes.
is there a practice or maybe a task or anything that can help them to kind of realize where they can start?
Sure. Well, so first of all is really understand that you matter. That the impact you have on the family is a lot bigger than you realize. Most women don't really see themselves as that significant. But they're really the most significant part of the family.
Yes.
So you are significant,
Yeah.
Don't forget about yourself. And really know that if you're not at your best, your family is not at your best.
Because you're not performing at your best.
No, you're not. So that's the number one.
Number one.
And then if you're really struggling in your marriage, don't continue with the struggle. Do something about it. Like there is help out there. There is no reason for you to be suffering like that. There's no reason to be unhappy every day. There's no reason to bring that to your kids, and have your kids suffer. Your kids should not be witness to your fighting all the time, and that kind of angry, lower energy,
right,
environment for them.
And the kids will respond to that, adding into the game, making it even harder.
Absolutely. They know when there's tension in the home.
Know.
They misbehave worse.
Yes.
They know.
Yes.
Like, I see from my kids what they went. Like, if I came home and I was stressed and upset, they act up more. They actually added to it.
Kids are very energy sensitive, most
Yes.
of them, right? And sometimes they don't even know they're acting up. They just they don't feel settled. They don't feel secure at home. They feel like the house is always noisy or unstable or something's gonna happen. And they will fidget. They will be unsettled. They will react in many different ways.
Yeah. And actually, in the courses I took about marriage counseling, there are cases of children misbehaving on purpose to bring the couple together. So if there is tension between a couple, kids will misbehave. Like, they become the center of attention. Now they're the problem area. So forcing the mother and father to come together because now they got another problem. Rather than the child is the problem.
A big pain to cover a small pain. So,
Yes.
Is there any like a practice that can help women to kind of have a little time for themselves to kind of help them realize from within, listen to the heart that you practice or you suggest your clients to practice?
Yeah, well, definitely meditation. Meditation, getting quiet, having time for yourself, setting time aside for yourself. For a woman, didn't have a minute to myself. I see really the gift of quietness and going within. Just having that, it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes 15 minutes just to ground yourself and see what's going on.
Wow.
Ask yourself, what do I need right now?
What do I
and
need?
just be aware of what's going on within your body. Your body speaks to you all the time.
Yes.
If you listen.
But you need to spend time to listen first.
That's it. You need that quiet time. That busy, constant going on doesn't help you listen. Yeah, just quiet down and see what's going on. What do I need? What would make me happy right now? Answer that question.
Yes.
How often do we ask ourselves that? I didn't.
What makes you happy?
What makes you happy? What do you need? What do I want? What really fulfills me? What fills me up? A lot of times it's a matter of girlfriends getting together and just talking, really getting that stuff out of them, rather than this, like I said, the social media, pretense. Just say what's going on with you, really. Just get that stuff out of you sometimes, and have your girlfriend support you. So in flowing marriages, that's another thing I've created, is really a community of women that come together. These are married women that come together to help each other. That community is so important, that we're all here to help ourselves and our women.
Do you have a community set up like that already?
Yeah, well, I have a Facebook page, soulflowingmarriage.com, and also the website. Anyone who's going to enroll in our program will stay in our community. They can stay with their, Facebook. They can ask their questions. They can get support from us and other people. One of the things that we've done right off the bat is to have a call, free 45-minute coaching call. Where
that's awesome, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
free.
It's free, so you can call into it. You can go to flowingmarriage.com. I've put together 12 questions to ask yourself, or any woman who's considering divorce, to see if they're ready.
I saw that post.
Yeah. So it's a free download. You can come in and download it from our site and ask you really important questions that I so wish someone had asked me at the time, because I thought, divorce is going to fix my problems. No, it added so many more issues. We're delusional, thinking, getting divorced, okay, that's it. Now, I got rid of the bad guy, and now my life's going to be fine. No.
It's not a one-time act.
No.
It's a long, ongoing, for years kind of process, right?
Yeah, and you think you got problems now, wait until after divorce.
We're talking with the expert here.
Yeah.
So where can people find you if they want to talk to you? Because you have so much experience, like both sides, the healing part and also the challenge part. You've been through them all.
Yeah, so in the flowingmarriage.com, they can go in there, contact us. There is questions to ask, and I'll get the email and I'll be calling them. That call that we said, it's really great for, first of all, clarifying the issues that you have.
Right.
Then looking at having a woman really listen to you. Being listened to is so powerful, because when a person can listen to you powerfully, you get realizations that you don't get otherwise, because we're so much in our head. But when someone can really get you and listen to you, you start realizing stuff on your own a lot of times. You can teach yourself in a lot of ways when you're listened to powerfully. And then you can actually come up with what you need next steps in your marriage. And maybe come up with a new way that you want to be, a vision that you can move forward with, your next steps.
Right.
And if you decide that you want to work with us, the program is there and you can join and be supported. Oh.
That's wonderful. So I'm gonna, as usual, post all her contacts, her social media contact, her website, all onto the post itself when I put the playback back onto my feed, and also into the group of You Are the Incredible Human. This video will also go onto my YouTube channel, and maybe share with Parisa on her own social media. So you can always refer to all those links, and remember to take that task before you make the big decision. It's going to help you. It's only 12 easy questions and won't take you long. And ladies, remember to spend time with yourself every day. Just to be honest with yourself. Feel your feelings. Feel what you are feeling right now. What does it mean to you? Before you make any assumption, come back into the moment first. Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Parisa, for today. I learned a lot from you. It's like, so nice to see you again, as I said before. Thank you.
So appreciate it.
And so, folks, we'll have another guest next time. Stay tuned. But before that, please stay healthy. And again, come back to yourself. Listen to the body. The body needs a lot of time and connection to stay healthy. All right? Blessings to you all. Have a good day.